Hello, sweethearted consumer. Thank you for your attention. My name is Unicole Unicron, and I am a cult leader. Today I'm going to be sharing with you some of the underlying ideologies of the Unicult and how they can benefit you. Now, as any good cult leader would do, I've researched the forces behind the motivation of individuals and of society. I'm specifically focused on fulfillment and what fulfills us as individuals and as a society, and where the current systems lack and fail in doing that. This comes from my own heart, which is broken because of the broken society that we live in. I found it very difficult growing up in this environment to be truly fulfilled. And so that's what I've really dedicated my attention to and what I really focused on. And so what the Unicult teaches is that there are at least two different fundamental aspects of humanity, of what makes us human, that we are blatantly ignoring, and that in our ignorance of that damage us as people, as individuals, and as a society as a whole. Now, those two things are creation and spirituality. Now, creation is easier to understand. It's the idea that we should be creating not just art, but our own realities. All of the members of the Unicult are encouraged to create their own realities. And what that means is that a lot of times people are going through their day-to-day, internalizing different media and internalizing different information, and taking it in a way that doesn't benefit them. It actually hurts them. And that's not the best way to live, it's not the most free way to live, and it's not the most fulfilled way to live. But the alternative, and what the Unicult teaches, is that you can program your mind and your reality to benefit you directly. So every interaction that you have, every bit of information that you take in, can make it in your head so that it benefits you directly. And if in doing that, your life becomes much better. It's so magical, because when I first started the Unicult, I started believing in things that I only wanted to believe in because they would make me happy. I didn't think that I would actually see tangible results based on my dedication to myself. But as time has gone on, I realized that whatever you believe and whatever you act like the world is, the world really just becomes that. We are beings of energy in an energetic world, and we really do create our own realities. So even if your reality feels like you haven't been creating it, in your passiveness, you have been creating it. So what it means to create your own reality, and creation is the cure to consumption. Everybody knows that consumption is bad and wrong, but that's not actually true. Consumption is necessary for life. You have to eat to live, right? That's the very basic thing that we do as living, breathing humans, is eat, breathe, take things in. But that's an imbalanced lifestyle. And that's why a lot of us in these Western countries are very depressed, because we live these lives of consumerism, but we don't balance it with creation. So creation is the cure to consumption. If you create more of your world through art, through media, like create your own media, create your own clothing, create your own dishware, create your own communities, create your own ideas that how the world works, create your own systems. Whatever you want to create is going to fulfill you. So that's the first thing. It's easy to understand. Whenever an arts program gets cut from an elementary school or something, people get so upset, and that's because it's very easy to understand that that creation is super important to the human spirit. What's more difficult to understand is spirituality, and that's because the way that humans have been practicing spirituality in the last several thousand years is not ultimately fulfilling. To a lot of people it has been, and that's why it's persisted. But we're seeing these large drops in people who are participating within organized religion, and it's a direct result of information and of our minds becoming expanded through the internet and through other technologies. And it's not a bad thing. It just means that we are looking for more answers than traditional churches can provide. A good little introduction to you to start to understand the importance of spirituality is that we are all spiritual beings. Even if you are an atheist nihilist, that is your spirituality. You can't just ignore that aspect of yourself. Everybody has the question of what is my spirituality? And even if you say, I don't have one, you're acknowledging the fact that you have an aspect of yourself, which is acknowledging the fact that a spiritual aspect exists. There's a question of your spiritual understanding. Every culture has had some form of spiritual expression. And so I encourage you to not look at spirituality as some kind of ignorant thing. Spirituality is a fundamental, essential component of your humanity. And you can think of spirituality just as the way that you relate to the world. Because as humans, it is deeply satisfying for us to have the idea of something that is incomprehensibly more than we are, or that we can understand. And that's because our spirits are constantly progressing scientifically, emotionally. We're constantly progressing towards these greater understandings, and we're always asking. That's so human, right? We're asking, what's more? What's beyond this? What's the answer? Why are we here? And these questions everybody asks. The fact that we ask these questions is a pretty big indicator that we should pay homage to this aspect of ourselves. So by identifying the idea of something more, and by having a spiritual understanding with that concept, we're really just paying homage to that really scientific way of thinking, of saying, I want to find out more answers. I want to know what's beyond what our current understanding is. I want to know what the ultimate thing is. What is the ultimate thing? Is there an ultimate reality? Is there an ultimate personality that's God? Is there an ultimate sum of all the parts? I used to just ignore these questions. I thought about them for a while, and I accepted mostly the Christian answers, and then rejected them because I thought that it wasn't cool and it wasn't smart. But I was really deeply unhappy because I wasn't feeding that part of my spirit. And so the Unicult teaches you that it is okay to have a spirituality. It is cool, it is awesome, it's going to fulfill you, and it's going to make you more balanced. So what we're talking about today is prayer. And prayer is something that I have gravitated towards because I grew up doing it. But it's important for us to understand that prayer itself is just one skin, if you will. It's one, article of clothing for an act that is shared among many different types of rituals. Rituals are deeply important. Advertisers understand this. Religions understand this. Repetition in your day-to-day life is mind control, and it is what makes you create your own reality. So when you do a ritual that is based on your intent, and you say, this ritual is for me to become fulfilled, or this ritual is for me to feel happy, then you are taking your power back away from the rituals of online shopping, or the rituals of going to a certain place to get your coffee every day. It's not bad to have corporate rituals, but it's important to also take that power of the ritual and put it back into your own life with your own meaning so that you can directly benefit from it. So prayer itself is easy for me specifically, and probably a lot of people, because we grew up doing it, because we were raised in Judeo-Christian society, and it's depicted in a lot of different media and movies. You've got the little girl, Precious Moments, sitting by the bed with her hands up, you've got the, teen girl who's praying, it's always this private act, and it's very romantic. It's very romantic to me how prayer is depicted. So prayer to me, I don't believe in a conventional Christian God. I don't believe in a male God. I don't believe in, a white man with a beard in the sky. Although I do sometimes have trouble thinking of God in other ways because I was raised to believe that. So I do make effort to try to conceptualize God in other ways. As a creator, as a creator female, or as just pure energy, as the incomprehensible sum of all parts. So when I pray to something more. And what I'm talking about is my own personal ritual that I developed because it appeals to me and it benefits me directly. So in praying to something more, I am performing a ritual, taking back my power in ritualistic action and thought. I am sending out good vibes. I believe that I am a being of energy, and so when I pray, I am sending out gratitude and love and intent into the universe, and I believe that that will come back to me. And I'm also just simply programming my own mind. If I repeat every day, I'm grateful for my life, I'm happy for all these things that I have, I'm grateful for my abundance, I love my friends, I want them to be protected, I want to be protected, these are the things that I pray about, and please, I want some supernatural being to assist me in ascending into a higher realm, because a lot of times it's hard to believe in ourselves to really have the power to grow beyond our current situations. And so it's really ultimately within your own power, but it is nice to imagine and to call upon the help of angels or aliens or God or whatever you want to imagine it as, something more, even just your higher self. It doesn't matter. What I'm talking about is you're putting different clothing on the same exact activity. Everybody does it, but no one can do it exactly the same as anyone else. In praying, or in casting spells in witchcraft, or in manifesting and the power of positive thinking, or in meditating, these energetically all look the same. But it's because we are all unique individuals that we need infinite options for expressing our spirituality. And we're coming into that understanding, and that's why people are becoming skeptical of religions, because they're not truly fulfilling their spiritual desires. And your spiritual desires can only be fulfilled by yourself. Spirituality is different from religion. You can have two people of the same religion who have radically different spirituality. You can have two people of the same religion who have radically different rituals. You can have a husband and a wife who are both, Christian or Methodist or whatever, and one of them goes to church and the other one doesn't, but their belief is the same. They believe in the same, the same higher power logistically. You can have one person who prays a lot more than another person. You can have a whole congregation of people, all who interact with the deity that they have chosen in unique ways. And that's okay, and we should pay homage to that, because each person should have their own relationship with God, right? Or their own relationship with something more. So when I pray, I use my prayer beads that I came up with. They've got a little unicorn here. They've got some rose quartz, some amethyst, some turquoise, and a quartz crystal there on the end. And usually I just hold them in my hand because I like the way it looks and feels, and it helps me feel like my prayers are really going to reach their destination. It's also just a ritualistic aspect. Usually I light candles before I pray because that also makes me feel, it puts me in the mindset and the mood. It's ritual. So there's different things that I do during my prayer ritual that really turns on the aspect of prayer to me and really turns up the volume almost on what I'm doing. So I hold my prayer beads and I do the classical action